Hello everyone, this is Alireza. In this episode, we will handle the connections and draw the connections. So, in previous episode, we draw our GUI for our node. At the end, we need to say draw connections, and after that we say editor utility dot set dirty this, and this will cause serialization. Okay, now draw connections. If I find it in my notes at the bottom, draw connections. Oh, I changed the name. Yeah, okay, cool, works for me. Now draw connections. In draw connections, we say if inputs equals null, or inputs dot count, or any, I should say, if not input dot any, then return. We don't have anything to draw the connection on. Then we say for each, inside our inputs var input, we say if input dot parent node equals to null, then continue. This node has no connection, continue. Otherwise, we say vector3 start position equals to input dot connected output dot position. Then we say vector3 end equals to the input dot position. Then we say vector2 start tangent equals to new vector2, and we copy it, we paste it, we rename it to end tangent. Okay, now the start tangent and end tangent changes depending on if the nodes are, let's show it. If the, for example, add node is on the right hand side of the float node or at the left hand side of the float node, okay? We want to change the tangents on base of that. So we say color, and we call it color equals to, I chose the gray. Then we say if is selected or input dot parent node, input, look at that, input dot parent node is selected. Then we say color equals to new color 1, 0.5 f, 0. So an orange number color there. Then we say float offset equals to mathf dot absolute of start dot x minus end dot x divided by 1.75 f. Don't remove my spaces. Then we say if input dot position dot x is less than the start dot x, else something else. Here we say start tangent equals to new vector2 of start dot x minus offset, comma start dot x. No, not x, sorry, y. And end tangent is end dot x plus offset and end dot y. So if it's reversed, of course, we reverse the sign for the offset. So plus and minus. And do we need need to instantiate them? No. Then we say handles dot begin GUI, and when we start handles GUI dot end GUI. Between that we say handles dot color equals to color dot white. No, come on. Color dot white. So we reset the handles color. Then we say handles dot draw Bezier from start to end, and with start tangent and end tangent with the color we gave. If we want to draw a texture, we want to draw null, and with 2 pixels. If you noticed in Mecanim, for example, you have a line with an arrow in it. They are using a texture there to draw a straight line. I don't know if it's Bezier or not. Anyway, and we are drawing our connections. Of course, you won't see anything right now. And did I save? No, save. You won't see anything right now because when I'm doing this connection, I'm not setting the parent-child relationship. For that, when we click on output, okay, when we click on output, we are handling the connection. In handle connection, we say if parent graph equals to null, then we lost the graph, we have nothing to do, return. Otherwise, we say parent graph dot wanted connections equals to true. Then we say active output equals to the output we sent in. And finally, we say parent graph dot connection node equals to this node. When we want to finalize the connection, however, we say again if parent graph equals to null, we return. We say input node, I called it input dot parent node equals to parent graph dot connection node, because we already set it. Then input dot is occupied equals to input dot parent node, it does not equal to null. So it's a check that if we set it properly or not. Then we say parent graph dot connection node dot active output dot child node equals to this. Then we say parent graph dot connection node dot active output dot connection input ID equals inputs dot index of the input we sent in. After that, we say input dot connected output equals to parent graph dot connection node dot active output. And finally, we say parent graph dot wanted connection equals to false. We finished connecting everything. And parent graph dot connection node equals to null. Okay, so you can say we have some things to do in node graph. And if you remember, I said if we want some connections, we have to do stuff here. So if there is no node selected, we deselect all. But if we are in the middle of connection, means that we clicked it here, then we clicked it here, then we clicked somewhere other than node in empty space. Okay? So here we say wanted connection equals to false. Then we say if connection node does not equal to null. We want to reset it, and it does not equal, not plus. So we say connection node dot active output dot is occupied equals false. Then we say connection node dot active output equals to null. Then we say connection node dot is selected equals to true. So we go back to the node we clicked previously as active node. Then we say selected node equals to connection node. And finally, we reset the connection node equals to null. Okay, cool. Is that all? No. Let's see. If I click now, you see that we draw the connection, okay? And it's perfectly working, as you see. But when I'm clicking, I want to draw the connection from this output toward the node. And as you see, oh, this is bad. Oh, heck. I just noticed it now. So, yeah, now that the connection is working, the input is out. But you noticed something? I click here, I click here, I lose the connection. I lose the connection. So, let's see how I can, that's because I'm setting the occupied to false. How can we do that? We say if connection node dot active output dot child node equals to null, then do the occupied equals false. Let's see if it works. So if I delete this guy, I delete this guy, upload and add. I click, okay, that worked. Clicked, that worked. Now we don't lose it. Okay. Debugging on the fly. Okay. So what did I do? I said if my connection node active output has no child already, then set the occupied false. Because if we have any child, then we don't want to set it to false. Okay. We are connecting it to a second node. Okay. Now, we want to draw the mouse to, the output to mouse connection, and that happens inside update graph GUI in node graph. And here we draw the GUI for each node. Then we say if wanted connections, wants connections. So if we want connections, we say if connection node does not equal to null, then we say draw connection to mouse. Now here we say e.mouse position. Okay. And I can totally use this code there. The same code. You will see how I will change it. So draw connection to mouse. Paste that. Now we don't need these guys. We don't have this. We don't have this part. So we don't have this. Okay. First of all, the start equals to the connection node dot active output dot position, and equals to the position we sent in. This time it's mouse, tangents, and We don't need that part. We already know the color. After that, the math is there. If here is the position, and the rest is the same. Let's try it, shall we? So here we go. So as you can see, I can hook one output to two inputs, even on the same node, or more than one node, and more than once. Okay? Now, if I want to reset this connection, for example, I can just hook something else to here. And we have it. Okay? And I can totally go crazy with this guy. Like that. And another float here for this input. Boom. And you see, when I select a node, not only the connections of that node is highlighted, the inputs and outputs of the children and parent nodes get highlighted. Okay? And if I select a parent node, its child input connection is getting highlighted. Cool. Now, if I want to break a connection, oh, look at here. I just found a bug. I just right-clicked here and not only lose that, but okay, null reference exception in node base 248. Node base 248. Why? Well, the reason I'm losing that and I'm getting this null point is that this guy is a button and I'm right-clicking on it. So right-clicking is calling it, but take a look. If I left-click, I get that null point exception because we are not finalizing the guy. And here we should say or. So after here, the finalization, we say if parent graph dot connection node equals to null, then return again. We have nothing to do. So that should prevent that bug from happening. So clear. And you see that, okay, I connected, deselect, select it, right click, nothing happens. Okay, I'm keeping the connection. But I lost something now. Why? Well, things happen like this when you add stuff and tweak stuff, especially for connecting and disconnecting. And let's add another float and the final add here. So if I connect this, connect that, moving this, now everything works. The reason you saw those connections broke is that we are tweaking the code on the fly. When you tweak the code on the fly on a serialized asset, well, you break the code, you break the serialization. But now, if I select, I right click, nothing happens. If I deselect, I right click, nothing happens. If I right click, I get a connection. Okay? Do you want this right click behavior? I'm not sure. Yeah, it's resetting the connection there, but not here. Hardly. So, oh, I found something. It's keeping it occupied. So, here we want to say if input dot connected output does not equal to null, then we say control V that is occupied equals to false, and we need to reset that guy. So that dot child node equals to null. Any other thing? Dot connected input ID equals to -1. So if we had any previous connection, we reset it. Let's see. And it will break the serialization, I think. Yeah, you see, it breaks the serialization. So, yeah, create a float, create an add, and just to test, I connect this guy to this guy, then I connect this guy to this guy, and this guy gets free. That was what I wanted to see. Okay. Another float and another add node. Connect, connect. And now everything's working properly. Now, what if I want to break this connection? What can I do? Well, we should see the order that processing events are working, and I didn't save it, goddammit. Did I break it now? Yeah, again. Okay. So, I don't want this. I don't want this to happen. God damn it. We should say if event dot current dot key code equals to, no, not that key, no, event dot current dot, what was that, button equals to 1, return. Will that work? Yeah. Now we are not able, come on, we broke that output again. Every time I save that guy, it ruins that part, but meh. This will work for us for testing purposes. So, right click, nothing happens. Right click, nothing happens. Okay? But I want to show something here. For example, break connection. Okay? So, how can I handle that one? Let's take a look at the process event and how the process event is happening. Okay. In node-based process event. If we are doing else, we should say if we use this part, v buttons 1, and I'm totally changing the code on the fly. If vrect is there, well, let's see. we say bool on button equals to false. Then we go for each inside inputs var input if input dot position equals to e dot mouse position. Then we say on button equals to true, and come on, we break out of the loop. If not on button yet, then we say for each inside the outputs we do the same check. So, and I'm not sure if this position will work, but we will see. So if output, then we say if, not here, in here, else if on button, we want a context menu here, okay? Or we can just simply reset the connections. Well, let's see. Debug.log on connection. At least that part. So, oh, I saved it. This part is working. This part is working. This part is working. This part is working. If I click here, I should get a debug message. And I'm not. On here, not. Okay. Control X, delete. And not on button. Do that. Then, yeah, paste. And I'm not getting the message. Interesting. Okay, I know this part will break time and time again. Reconnecting it will fix it actually. Yeah. Okay. And I don't get the debug message. So, let's move this guy out completely. There. Okay, I know that this guy needs to reset. And I'm not getting that debug message. Simply because I'm inside direct. So I'm falling inside this guy. Okay, let's do something. Debug.log the e.mouse position. Oh, heck, this will be ugly. Yeah, do that. Plus plus our input 0 dot position, or I should say output, because I'm sure both of them has output. I don't want to have a null point exceptions. So now I should be on the same spot, and you see that I'm not, because few pixels out of the way. Okay, I know what's going on. Here we should say if the out position, or should say if the mouse position is greater than or equal to output dot position dot x, and this guy is dot x, position dot x is greater than or equal -8, and so we are wrapping it inside the rect, is y is greater than or equal to that, and x is less than or equal to +8, and dy is less than or equal to y +8. Okay, Control C, and we want this if condition to be replaced, and instead of output we want input. There we go. So let's check it. Let's see if that is working now. And yeah, I broke the connection, I know. And at the end we say if on button, say debug.log something, whatever. And we are in connection, and we are in connection. We are in connection, we are in connection. Okay, so you see it's working. We are on input, we are on output, output, input. Okay, so now we say if on button and e.button equals to 1. So if we right click there, we want a context menu, but I will add it in next episode. So we say to do add a context menu for deleting connection. Okay, and here just I say no, that's okay. Come on, that's okay. So I can remove this part. I can move this guy inside here. Bam. And we say else if that. Okay. And I totally forgot this guy. Holy crap. Dot that. Wow, and it was working? Interesting. Okay. So, no, just reset the connections so that they update themselves inside serialization. Okay, so in next episode, I will add a context menu for removing these connections when I right click on any of these guys. That was not part of my R&D, but it occurred to me that I needed that. So what we did in this episode, we connected our nodes to each other and we handle the connections now. Until next episode, have fun everybody, and bye-bye.